Thanks for joining us on Plus TV Africa. I am Felicity Ezewike with the news. The Supreme Court has called off the trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki on asset declaration. In the lead judgment on Friday, Justice Sentus Nweze upheld Saraki's appeal and dismissed the federal government's appeal, noting that the prosecution's evidence was entirely hearsay. The Senate President had approached the court over the decision of the federal government through the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to try him again before the Code of Conduct Tribunal, which had earlier set him free. Joining us live now to talk about this decision is Raymond Nkanebe, a legal practitioner and columnist. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What do you make of this surprise judgment or not so surprise judgment?
Well, just the way you said, I don't think it's a surprise decision. Persons who understood or who understand the provision of the law as per no case submission and hearsay evidence would know that the majority of evidence that was led by the prosecution at the trial court dealt either on hearsay evidence or their evidence which legally are not admissible in court. So it was expected that the Supreme Court would affirm the Court of Appeals decision,
okay,
which had earlier upturned the trial court, which had earlier agreed with the Court of Appeal, the trial court finding.
Well, what do you make of this school of thought that say this entire process was a political vendetta?
Given how the current Senate, I think the 9th Senate, if I'm not mistaken, came on board, the Buhari-led APC government actually it's a common knowledge that they wanted other persons to be the headship of the Senate until what happened on the 9th of June 2015 that led to the coloration of the Senate. So ever since then, some persons fell of the opinion that the federal government have not been in good terms with the Senate president. And so as a way of clipping his wings, they had to contrive this action that has been answered in the negative by the Supreme Court. So I think to an extent, there's an element of, it can be suggested that the trial of the Senate president was has political undertones.
Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Still on the Senate President, here is a timeline of his trial from when the case went to court in September 2015 till date when the Supreme Court called off the trial. Moving away from the news on the Senate President, the federal government has arraigned a former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswan, before a court in Abuja, the nation's capital. Suswan was arraigned in court on Friday on 3 counts of illegal possession of firearms. The Independent National Electoral Commission says over 630,000 voters have collected their permanent voter cards and will be participating in the Ekiti state governorship election on July 14. INEC, however, lamented that with less than 9 days to the election, over 280,000 persons had not yet collected their PVCs. Commissioner supervising Ekiti state election, Prince Adedeji Suebi, revealed this during the quarterly meeting with the media in Abuja on Thursday. He said 280,000 persons would not be allowed to vote if they do not claim their PVCs. In his remarks, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubi, said the full report of the Kano State local government election in which children were said to have voted would be published on the Commission's website today. Meanwhile, the National Security Advisor Major General Mohammed Babakana Monguna says security agencies are ready to ensure a hitch-free gubernatorial election in Ekiti. The NSA expressed faith that the electoral body, INEC, is prepared to conduct a credible election in Ekiti State, just as it did in Anambra. This was said at the quarterly consultative meeting with security agencies held at INEC headquarters in Abuja. When we return, we will bring you news making headlines across Africa and the rest of the world. Don't go away. South Sudan's government and rebels have reached a deal on security arrangements during talks in Khartoum, Sudanese state agency SUNA reported as part of efforts to end nearly 5 years of civil war. The talks have been hosted by Sudan, from which South Sudan declared independence in 2011 after decades of bloodshed. Last month, Kir signed a framework agreement with rebel leader Maka in Khartoum, providing for a ceasefire, paving the way for talks towards a full treaty. But rebels immediately rejected some elements of the accord. The fighting in South Sudan has uprooted about a quarter of its 12 million population, gutted oil production, and ruined an already widely impoverished economy. The United States has terminated funding to 3 Zimbabwean human rights and pro-democracy groups 3 weeks before an election, a move that analysts say could undermine the credibility of the country's first post-Mugabe vote. A U.S. embassy spokesman said the decision by USAID, Washington's aid arm, to pull the plug followed a regular internal audit that uncovered unusual activity and non-compliance in the use of funds without providing any details. Still on the foreign scene, former Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was sentenced to 10 years in jail in a corruption case by Pakistan's Accountability Court on Friday. His daughter Maryam was also given a 7-year jail term, while son-in-law Captain Safda received a 1-year prison sentence. Nawaz Sharif faced corruption charges and was forced to resign as Prime Minister by Pakistan's Supreme Court after his name and family names appeared in the Panama Papers case. The National Accountability Bureau Court accused Sharif and his family of being unable to legitimately show the money trail for the purchase of several luxurious properties in London, mostly in the mid-1990s. Sharif was ousted by the Supreme Court in July 2017 and barred from politics for being dishonest. He was also disqualified from holding public office for life and is ineligible to contest elections by the Pakistani Supreme Court. A former Thai military diver involved in operations to rescue 12 boys trapped in a cave in northern Thailand has died. This was made known by Deputy Governor Pasakon Boyalok on Friday. The diver, identified as a retired Navy Petty Officer First Class Saman Kunam, died on his way out of the Tham Laung cave complex after going in to supply one of the chambers with oxygen tanks on Thursday night. The deputy governor maintained that the casualty has not dampened the morale of the rescuers. 24 people were killed in the Mexican city of Teltepec, which is renowned for its mesmerizing and dangerous pyrotechnic shows. Among the deceased were first responders who rushed to the scene. The blast struck the factory, which has been operating without a license, at 9:40 a.m. on Thursday. As firefighters, police officers, and members of the Civil Protection Service arrived at the scene, the initial blast triggered a chain reaction, resulting in at least 3 more explosions. Out of the 24 victims, 17 died on the spot, and a further 7 were pronounced dead at the hospital. Luis Felipe Ponte, the head of Mexico's Civil Defense Agency, has blamed the tragedy on the mishandling of gunpowder, saying that the blast tore up the clandestine facility that lacked government authorization. Business report after this. Oil Oil prices dropped further today to $77 per barrel on the back of increased production from Saudi Arabia and rising tensions from the United States and China. According to OPEC sources, Saudi Arabia had told OPEC they had increased output by about 500,000 barrels per day last month. At 09:10 GMT, Brent crude had dropped by 19% at $77.20 per barrel, while U.S. crude slipped 2 cents to $72.92. This validated the promise by Saudi Arabia to increase output, as said by Tamas Vaga. According to U.S. government reports, crude stockpiles rose 1.3 million barrels. A nationwide audit of all Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation subsidiary field operations has commenced, as announced by NNPC on Thursday. The operation is to take place at a downstream subsidiary, NNPC Retail Limited, which deals with the supply and distribution of petroleum products. The audit is aimed at ensuring that all delisted trucks comply with the requirement to remove NNPC logo and other brand-related attributes on such trucks, as said by Ndu Ngamadu, General Manager, Public Affairs Division. He also said this will help validate that only NNPC retail tested and certified trucks bear the company's logo and other company features. He re-emphasized that all NNPC retail trucks were operating under the most stringent safety protocols and were also roadworthy. The strength of the naira against the greenback has appreciated significantly to 357 naira to a dollar on the parallel market, as reported on Thursday. This also reflected in the buying rate of the dollar, as the greenback sold at 359 naira to a dollar against the 360 naira to a dollar, which was its previous rate. The strength of the naira can be attributed to the boost in the country's external reserve, which moved from $47.472 billion as of June 4, 2018 to $47.798 billion on Wednesday. Also, the recent directive by the Central Bank of Nigeria to all Bureau de Change operators to henceforth access forex from the CBN 3 times a week or risk having their licenses reviewed has increased forex liquidity and also strengthened the naira. Still ahead on Plus TV News is a roundup on sports and entertainment. Do stay with us. We're back in a moment.
And in entertainment, Nigerian radio personality, talk show host and presenter Tolu Oniru, popularly known as Tools, took to social media to celebrate her 36th birthday by donating 200,000 to deserving winners. In her message, she said she was in an awesome mood and is super grateful to God for everything and hopes to transfer some of that energy. She therefore gave out 50,000 naira to randomly selected 4 people who left comments about what they would do with the money. American singer-songwriter and actor Chris Brown was arrested in Florida for an outstanding warrant after a concert at the Coral Sky Amphitheater in West Palm Beach as part of his nationwide tour. Chris was detained for felony battery by Hillsborough County Sheriff Office, and he posted a bond of $2,000 before he was set free an hour later. Chris Brown has been accosted in times past in 2009 regarding the domestic violence incident with his ex-girlfriend singer Rihanna. And in 2016, the singer was banned from entering Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom due to his criminal history. English musician Declan Patrick McManus, popularly known by his stage name Elvis Costello, has unwittingly cancelled the remainder of his European tour following the removal of a very aggressive cancer through surgery. He has been advised to rest by his doctor and as such has had to cancel the rest of his tour dates. He was due to play in Austria, Croatia, Norway and Sweden. In a statement, he said he realized he needed further time to recuperate and apologized to ticket holders and that refunds will be made through their points of purchase. He further stated there was optimistic news in the sense that he was going to be releasing a new record which will be issued in October. And that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports coming up right after this.
And this is Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoku with the update of the happenings around the world of sports. Zambian Super League top referee Gianni Zikazwe has been picked for the next phase of the FIFA 2018 World Cup. And FIFA released a statement shortly after midnight Zambian time. The number of match officials have also been reduced from 112 to 64, in which Zikazwe, together with Senegalese Malang Diédhiou, are the only African match officials that have made the new list. And Zikazwe has been the center referee in the matches between Belgium and Panama, as well as Japan and Poland, and is scheduled to be the fourth official in the quarterfinal match between host Russia and Croatia, which will be played at the Fish Stadium in Sochi on Saturday, the 7th of July. Premier League outfit Brighton and Hove Albion have signed Brazilian defender Bernardo from German Bundesliga side RB Leipzig. And the 23-year-old becomes the Seagulls' fourth signing of the summer signing after goalkeeper Jason Steele, Romanian striker Florian Andon, and Nigerian international defender Leon Balogun. Bernardo is signed on a 4-year deal for an undisclosed fee. And Premier League side Watford have completed the signing of Ben Foster and Ken Sema ahead of the new season. And the goalkeeper, who is 35, returns to the club after spending 2 years on loan at Vicarage Road during his Manchester United days. And Ben Foster has now signed for the Hornets on a 2-year deal with the option of an additional year following the agreement of an undisclosed fee with English Championship side West Bromwich Albion. And Swedish international winger Ken Sema has also joined Watford for an undisclosed fee from Östersund. Sema joins from the lowly Swedish side after putting pen to paper on a 5-year deal. The winger has played for Sweden on 5 occasions, but is not part of the squad currently jostling for honors at the ongoing FIFA World Cup tournament in Russia. And Bournemouth striker Callum Wilson has signed a new 4-year contract at the South Coast club until 2022. The news of his contract extension was revealed by the Premier League club via its official Twitter handle. And Callum Wilson, who is 26, joined the club from Coventry City and played a crucial role in helping the team secure promotion to the Premier League in 2015. He has 43 goals in 115 appearances at the club over his 4-year stay. And that's it on Sports Update on Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoku.
And that's our news roundup of events. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. To join us then. My name is Felicity Ezewike. Thanks for watching.